That's the computer screen, so we need to send front camera. Super duper awesome.
Hi, Jonathan, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Veronica. Can you hear us?
I can.
Good. Chances to come here in a minute. The presentation. All right, can everyone that just joined hear us? Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
Good deal. Thanks.
We can try.
So we have John, Terry, Christina, Chance, and Lieutenant Nichols again, right? No one else is in the room besides Jonathan, and I don't know the young man behind the computer. And Officer OL, am I pronouncing your name properly? Yes. I'm sorry, your microphone has to be on in order for me to hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
It's OEHL. The E and the H are silent, so it's like
Okay.
Old King Cole.
Okay, thank you. Is everyone else's microphone on?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Veronica, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello?
We got Tom here as well. I think you've got everyone else. Nancy, you want to speak into your
Hello.
mic, see if we can hear you?
Hello. Did you hear me?
Yeah, Nancy's on camera.
Okay.
We got you. Thanks. Veronica, I'm showing we've got
Bye.
Tom, Nancy, Terry, Bobby, and John.
Mhm.
You got anyone else electronically?
No,
And we are down. Clark's position has not been filled. David Gross just recently resigned last month, so we're down 2 members. So for quorum, we need 7.
7. Mhm.
5. Yep. David, WDI. I don't know.
Hello, iPhone. Can you state your name?
The iPhone is Ann Coffee.
Hi, Ann.
Hi.
And Ryan is on, so we have quorum.
Veronica, Elizabeth just walked in the room as well, so we have Elizabeth in person.
Okay.
So I guess we have a quorum. All right, then I guess we will call the meeting to order. Is there any public comments?
None online.
Not online, okay. Sorry, I'm jumping around, then I guess we'll go to approve the November minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Was that a second from Bobby?
Yes,
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Since we already hit the public comments, guess we need to elect a vice chair.
Yeah, since Bobby's resignation, he was kind of volunteered to be the vice chair a couple months back. And with his resignation, that leaves that,
I mean, David.
yeah, or David, not Bobby, sorry, David's resignation, that leaves that position open. So I had this informational or action, so we could take some volunteers, we could take a nomination, we could hold it till first of the year once we have a larger group and more members here, so.
Kick it over to the membership.
What were the specifics? Was it large property holder or whatever for those two positions?
It doesn't matter.
Just at large?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, for the vice chair, it's whatever. No, it doesn't have to hold a position. But we have positions missing.
I nominate Terry.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. He was just in my office and I just gave up being DBA president. I'll be vice if there's no other takers. Elizabeth.
Got full confidence in you, Terry.
I bet you do. Kelly Jordan, architect. Mhm.
Elizabeth, I can't hear you. Is your mic on?
There's a switch on top. It doesn't- Switch it. Yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you, Terry. Do we officially have to take that to a vote?
Yep.
All right. So with only one nominee, all in favor of Terry Espy being elected as vice chair of the committee, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And I will turn it over to Chance for the budget.
All right, everyone's favorite topic and that time of the year again. So I just want to kind of keep this live and active within the committee, especially considering last year. And some of the big changes that came down from council's final budget MSD, final adopted MSD budget. Normally, what I gather has happened is WDI normally brings a recommended budget to the committee. Committee weighs in, supports, doesn't support, changes, revisions. That normally goes to council. Coming at you a little earlier this year, especially with the WPD changes last year, and I just want to keep things current and talk through a couple items. Speaking with the budget director, her recommendation is that what initially comes from the committee is kind of a baseline budget based on previous year's contractual amounts to WDI. Any package increase recommendations, i.e. package A, package B, if the committee wants to, add to that baseline, a 3% raise to the block by block contract, or we want to double the facade improvement grants from 25,000 to 6,000. Based on that baseline, anything above that baseline would be kind of package request. The budget director normally doesn't get those final MSD allotted revenue figures back from the county February, March. So that's kind of why she wants us to come with the baseline, and within that baseline have package recommendations come February, March. Once we know where that total final figure lands, then that's kind of where we go back to the drawing board and see where any deltas need to be made up, or if, we've got more money or less money type thing. I think everyone here knows there was the additional funding allocated to WPD for the 2 downtown officers last year. I think we need to go into this budget season assuming that council is going to continue that directive. And I would assume that there could potentially be a merit increase as well for those officers in that line item. So I think last year, that number that was allocated to WPD was right at 184,000. So I think whatever the final figure comes in, it's probably going to be 184 plus merit increases, plus any equipment, supplies, that type stuff that comes in within that number. So I don't think there needs to be any action today. Just want to keep the subject matter current. I will also say that the MSD currently has an unassigned fund balance, meaning funds that were not used in the previous 5.5 years of $552,961. So that's a pretty hefty fund balance figure. That's currently 77% of the FY22 total budget. So that's a good figure to have in the fund
What
balance
was the
bank
number?
there.
What was the number again? Sam?
552,961. Now, fund balance requests are normally one-time uses. A good example was the $100,000 allocated to the tree wall work. Some ideas for that. I don't know if anyone from the committee is coming in with any ideas, but just thinking out loud, some ideas. We could continue some of that tree well work. I think the basis of that first project was core of the CBD. There are some outlying tree wells still within the MSD, especially on the north end. I'd say north of Red Cross.
Yeah.
Even on some streetscaping that's gone in the last 10 years that could probably use some TLC, especially considering how good the tree wells that were completed in the core of the CBD look. And a one-time use of an expansion of the facade improvement grants. I think from what I'm hearing from Christina and WDI is there's a large demand, and we've already hit our budgeted figure for the year, and there's still a whole host of applications sitting there that aren't going to be funded. So just some ideas. I think another one that could be talked about. Historically, there was a holiday decoration budget that was never used. The city's community services division has reached out to me with a potential idea of doing some revisions to the wreath red bow that are on most of the light poles in the core of the CBD. Their thought is that's a little dated. There could be maybe some new improvements to put in that. And the question was asked, hey, would the MSD be willing to fund some of that? So I don't have a figure. I don't have decorations ideas, but I think the thought was something more along the lines of Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach with the LED lit something on the street poles instead of the
Like a candy cane or a tree.
candy cane or a wave or a battleship lit, something Wilmington related / holiday related.
Chance, over the last 10 years, there's been dialogue of lighting up the Riverwalk, and there's been budgets pulled to run LEDs that are different colors. That could be seasonal, it could be Christmas, it could be St. Patty's. Our Riverwalk has it needs some attention. It's very worn. But there's a loud voice. Roe had been pushing for that. DBA would like to see it happen. Yeah, and so I think that one means it's a big chunk of money. DBA had a group come up and actually throw some numbers to light the bridge, but since we know the bridge will ultimately be gone, that doesn't hold as much interest. I think the full Riverwalk is what all the Waha's asked for it. So this is a pretty loud voice.
Okay. That's good to
Terry,
know.
is that to light it permanently or just-
Permanently, yeah.
Just want to clarify.
I will say, there are some electrical challenges with the Riverwalk currently, both on the south end by Annie Bonnie's and on the north end by Convention Center, Pier 33. I know specifically the southern end, Annie Bonnie's, you've essentially got electrical conduits sitting in water at times based on the tides. Not to say that can't happen, but I think I would hedge a bet that those electrical challenges need to get fixed prior, but I
Is
could be
that-
wrong.
Yeah, at Ann Bonnie's, is that Carl's responsibility? Carl Marshman, that's his city.
City, yeah.
Okay, because I know Carl's a big proponent of it. He lights it up anyway.
I do know there's an RFP out there. They had to pull it back and put it back out for the northern portion to get permanently corrected and fixed. The southern portion is a whole different story, but
Yeah.
but
I think we actually looked at ARPA money. There was a fund set aside through ARPA for anything to economic development to draw people into the downtown market. And CVB, didn't, okay, but I knew that was part of the dialogue.
You know, I can definitely ask the question, if that's a potential use, with engineering and public services, is what would be needed, and if those two electrical challenges would cause issues, you know, within next fiscal year, if some of that's gonna be fixed, then maybe we could look at just from a Market Street North starting point or something. So that's
perhaps some mature trees in the 200 and 300 block of North. We've lost some, and the new improvements in the sidewalks are absolutely beautiful. But maybe we could spend some money on 10, 15-year-old native hardwoods.
there are trees coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, they were, I think there are delays with what they ordered. I don't know that they're gonna be 10 to 15-year-old hardwoods, but, there are trees coming in.
That's great.
Mhm.
Good news.
Has there ever been like a project list formed of what this committee would like to see happen? And then maybe some projects pulled from that list at any point?
It started out with the tree wells and never got any longer.
Check that off.
3 years.
Christina, I mean, I mean, we could probably put something together. You know, for at least further discussion committee wise, you know.
I think part of the other thing too was was the alley activation that Harris was
Yep.
champion forever now. I kind of don't know where that is either, so.
I think it'd be just good to have like a few projects on the list that we can take a look at each fiscal year and decide, you know, kind of what takes priority and what we can fund.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Was there any projects that the business owners off of Front Street that were adversely affected from all the construction looking to get pushed forward? I know that was obviously a hot topic a while back, and being newer to this committee, I wasn't sure if there's any conversations prior to this.
From DBA standpoint, not necessarily. I mentioned earlier today that the city has done a really good job with the improvements there in front of Cotton Exchange. I know Nancy is aware of that, and they were far more efficient, allowing people on the sidewalk versus the first phase. They're appreciative that the city is allowing free parking until the meters go up. So that, and DBA expended a chunk of money with the program, the weekly cash drawing to lure people into that area. But I've not heard them ask for anything beyond that, other than maybe Gwen Farr at Old Books on Front might want some support on what's going on with her, but.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
That's really it on my side. I just wanted to kind of keep the subject matter current. I've asked Christina to at least draft a draft budget for the January meeting, so we have kind of an idea of where WDI is thinking for the operational side of things, and we take it from there.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Next item. That was short. Police reports.
So last month, our ABC officers, they did 10 compliance checks with 1 violation. All of our officers that are going to be accessing and using our e-bikes they've been through training and are currently in use as of this week. Our new horse Ranger is on the street and he is out of training and has been pinned. 10 of the officers just graduated their training officer program. They are on the street, which obviously helps us with our manpower issues. We have 2 classes that are getting ready to graduate, with another 15 to 20 going to be on the street in January and cut loose on their own early summer, late spring. So that's gonna be another 15-20, which is a great thing. Christmas parade last week went off without any issues. It was great, good turnout, even with the weather that we had. The Getting Home outreach program with our homeless in the downtown area, that program is up and running. We have 3 officers at this time that are working in conjunction with 4 of the county counterparts, social workers. And their main focus right now is the downtown district. It's comprised of 1 sergeant, a corporal, and an officer, and we plan to add 1 more officer in January. And as I promised last month, my show and tell is Officer Pete O. He's one of the MSD officers. The way they work is they rotate day shift. I have 1. Pete's here today. Next month, it'll fall on Officer Jacobs, and I will bring him in as well.
So it wasn't, you were talking about the alcohol violations. Did you say e-pipe training or heat pipe?
E-bike. We got e-bikes, electric
Oh,
bikes.
e-bike. I got
Yes,
you. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Not pipe.
Thank you very much. I guess on to WDI then.
So for our MSD, graffiti and handbill removal was one of the biggest challenges we had for the team in November. They removed 177 pieces of graffiti, which was an increase of about 70% over the previous month. Graffiti, however, is down for the first few weeks of December, so we hope that trend will continue. For handbills in November, the team removed 75, which was an increase of 45% over October. Our teams assisted with the DOT cleanup last month under the 3rd Street Bridge. We had the meeting the day that our last meeting, the day that happened. And just to give you guys an update, there was nearly 6,000 pounds of trash removed from that property. That was up from the 2,000 pounds removed in September. MSD teams followed that 2 weeks later and were the only ones underneath the bridge picking up trash. They removed 16 bags of trash and 5 hypodermic needles. And that took place on December 1st. Our next sole MSD-led cleanup is going to be on January 5th. And we will join NCDOT again for a larger cleanup on February 16th. So our efforts continue there. We are really excited about the officers and the paired street outreach workers for the Getting Home initiative through the city and county. WDI completed, or block by block completed, the training last Friday. It was a 3-day training that took place, and it was partial on the street and in the classroom training. There's a lot of collaboration happening between our social workers at the county level and Jack Morris. And the folks that they have chosen to be on the team, both officer wise and through the county DHHS system, are fantastic. So I'm excited to have them on the street working in partnership with our own MSD led street outreach program. Jack Morris has had a successful 12-month period. He's interacted with the homeless 5,200 times throughout the 12 months. Outreach activity has been quite significant this year, and I'm very proud of him and his work. For our ambassadors team, we continue to shift hours for the winter season. We are moving some hours from Monday and Tuesday into the weekend to improve coverage. We've noticed foot traffic through downtown Wilmington is beginning to slow down later in the evening and especially on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we're going to utilize those hours to shift over and hopefully be able to help some folks out with hospitality outreach and escorts and doing some extra cleaning around during the weekends. So the MSD teams have had a very successful year, and we continue to remain fully staffed in our ambassadors program, and we have tenured staff this year, which is something that we've not had in the program in previous years. So these guys are doing great work. James Slay, our operations manager, he goes above and beyond every day. So I'm really excited for the work that he's doing and some of the initiatives he wants to pursue in 2023, which I'll have some updates on next year. As far as the facade improvement grant program, we are now at $23,000 in funds that have been earmarked or awarded for this fiscal year. So that leaves $2,000 remaining in the program. The Cotton Exchange was one of the most recent awardees. They're in the process of receiving approvals for their work. Total for this program, it's helped $262,000 in investments into facades across the central business district. So this has been a very successful program, and I want to continue at $25,000, hopefully next fiscal year. And I do have applications that are coming in and sitting in my office right now, and I don't have enough grant funds to support them for this fiscal year. So very widely accepted program. Bring It Downtown marketing plan is nearing completion. We have ordered our winter banners and hoping to put them up either the last week of December or first week in January, just depending on how fast they come off the press. We are starting a new marketing initiative. We had Bring It Downtown and advertised the first 90 minutes free. With that going away, we are now looking at the tagline Park and Explore. And so we're going to be using that branding along with all of our other marketing initiatives. We're working with a social media team, Sam Sawyer, and to get that message out. And hopefully we'll be implementing that by January. We also are looking at developing a new parking map it's a website that's modeled kind of after what Downtown Houston is doing. Downtownhouston.org it'll feature the parking decks and all the amenities, restaurants, shops, etc. that are around it. We hope to develop this over the course of the winter and launch it by the summer. And for our microloan program, we have awarded $130,000 in lending this fiscal year to 7 businesses. Overall, this program is supporting 13 businesses and $250,000 total in lending since its start in 2021.
Thank you, Christine.
Can I ask a question? I saw the report on passive panhandling encounters. Do you guys run metrics on aggressive panhandling, or maybe I missed it?
Yes, we do run statistics on that. But panhandling overall has gone down. But the city, I believe the city put a zoning ordinance, or not a zoning ordinance, but just an overall ordinance in for aggressive panhandling. They revised that or something in the last couple months back.
Yeah, I think there was a revision. Lieutenant might have more details, but I know they cleaned up what was in the code because 9 out of the 10 things were either constitutionally protected now or just unenforceable. So I think they streamlined it to 1 or 2 things considered as, aggressive.
I've noticed an uptick in the Second and Dock Street area. Right at the Village Market, kind of running down Dock towards front at Dock Street, printing a decline in safety. And sometimes even following people to the point where they might have to hop in the Village Market or something to feel comfortable.
Oh, can you state the area again?
Sure. Second and Dock noticed in November increase in aggressive panhandling, and then running down Dock towards the river to Dock in front. There's a problematic area. And Terry might know what I'm talking about. There's a lot right there at Dock Street printing. There's been a big
Yeah.
change, I think, in that area.
There's a guy that sits there every day, all day long. He doesn't bother anybody. I mean, so the
The
word is
aviators.
he's with the CIA.
The aviators, right? And
Yeah, it doesn't, but he does attract a couple of others that just want to hang out, and yeah, it sometimes gets a little uncomfortable.
I can have the ambassadors team look at it and Jack as well, and then we can always work with our MSD officers.
thank you.
The daytime or is it night?
Daytime.
During the daytime?
Yeah, we have my mother-in-law staying at those condos above Tarantella.
Oh, yeah.
And then the shoes are over the power lines. And she's like, oh, it's just, and then we personally were chased into the Village Market.
Mm.
Just Miss, following a lone female daytime.
Mhm.
Not the fellow with aviators that he just sits, as you said.
It's important to remind people that, you know, we need to call 911 even if they're walking. And just remind people that 911 is important. So if we don't know an area has picked up, which now we do, so I'll keep an eye on that. I haven't seen anything that stands out to me during the day when I drive through there. But it doesn't mean it's not happening. So.
And the horse presence has really picked up in that area, which is very nice.
Right. Yeah, those guys, after Halloween, those guys do it. We're trying to sell it.
Yeah, we did have a guy was it earlier this week, sitting in front of Husk all day screaming.
That was Joel Maxwell.
Ooh,
Arrested. So I liken him to being like the new Steven, except
no.
Steven isn't, Steven doesn't, I've never caught Steven stealing. So this guy, he steals, but, I've been watching him all last week and he finally, stole something from Smoke Kings, the tobacco shop next to I Love New York. And it was on Sunday and, I was working with the homeless outreach group, so I couldn't go and handle it because I was designated just as that. So he was arrested later in the day. He bonded out somehow. When he got back out, he went back into Smoke Kings. But the important part is that Smoke Kings trespassed him from their business. So I charged him with trespassing. He stole some more Delta 8. And he threatened the cashier by throwing a glass jar at his face. So I charged him with communicating threats.
Yeah.
Right. And so they doubled his bond. So now it's $1,000 secured. So I'm hoping he'll be in jail for a little bit. He is an issue. He was up at Market and Kerr more, but he was trespassed from a lot of the businesses. And I think he got pushed back down here. So the tough part about down here is the city sidewalk they can be on. So my idea is that I eventually will try to get him trespassed from all of the businesses, right? Like if he's causing any issues, like, and kind of inform them on what's going on and try to get him trespassed.
Yeah.
So that even if he's in front of the business, because it's one of these weird things, like you can be on the city sidewalk, but not you're in front of my business, and is that the sidewalk curtilage of my business, even though it's owned by the city. And so, but I think it's like, hey, you can't be here, you're trespassing, kind of like Steven with Port City Java and the other coffee shop. He knows he can't be around there because he'll go and ask for food or coffee in the mornings. And but that's Joel Maxwell. Hopefully we've handled it for a little while.
Yeah.
I set the court date to like the end of January. So
yeah, I think Justin Smith, Christina and I talked about that day, and I got back to Justin and told him to go ahead and file a report. He said he was going to.
Justin
Smith that owns Husk, Osaki.
Oh, okay. And he was sitting at the Husk, and part of the issue is that I don't really know that would be a noise ordinance. It's one of those fine lines. He's mentally ill. He just got some mental issues.
Yeah.
Screaming and stuff, and like I can't necessarily arrest him with disorderly conduct because he's not screaming at anyone in particular. It's just disturbing. So I think thinking outside the box, you can trespass from all the properties. You have to go, eventually have to go somewhere else, which is, that's just what we have to do.
It's like fire ants.
Yeah, you cry, you
They
you
go to
start
your
one
neck.
hill and they go to another.
I'm gonna join by phone. Officer, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Is there any protocols or something that Christina could get out to some of the businesses around to help you guys make that happen faster?
Call us.
Just call it.
Call 911 so when I so during the day, my job is different than the nighttime officers. I think the nighttime officers, obviously there's more of them because of the bars and activity that happens at night. So I view that my job during the day is to assist is mainly to assist the businesses in making it so that they can earn money and do what they do as a business. So anytime I either go to a business or I stop by, I'll give them my card and tell them, I offer my card as a direct contact. Hey, call or text me if you have an issue. If it's an emergency, call 911, obviously. But it's like, hey, we got like a new homeless guy I've never seen before. Are you working? And then I can get there like that. 911 is the what you need to do and call for an emergency. But sometimes, they ask you 30 questions and they're all important questions, but it's like, let me just see if Peter's working and I can handle it. So I'll give you a perfect example. Pier 33. I've been there a lot because they've dealing with some issues and a resident who committed a crime. And so, but we built up a rapport and they're constantly texting me today. Hey, we had some more car breaking and enterings in the parking lot. And so, like, well, give me the video and I can go and take the reports. But I had that connection, so they're letting me know right away. And then I can let the nighttime guys know right away, and there's no delay in trying to provide them with the service that they need. It also helps me think outside the box and how to handle situations. So that's what I try to do is, avail myself to all the businesses. That's what I think my main job is.
That's great. Thank you.
And maybe that's something we need to talk about between, WPD and WDI and maybe DBA as well. So, how do we balance compassion with business? And what kind of out of the box ways can we do to address some of the issues that the business owners are facing? Now that we have all these street outreach folks in downtown Wilmington, maybe we can, be able to help the situation a little bit more, we can discuss that maybe after the new year.
I think everyone downtown that I've talked to, they all understand, it's tough times. You've got, the different classes of homeless that you have. And for the most part, I think most of the homeless understand, I won't say their place, but they understand kind of how it works, and then when you get a new one who comes in and he disrupts that. And so, like Chad, I mentioned Chad, he's one of the homeless. I've never seen him cause any problems. He's always in the same spaces. I'm sure he might ask people for money and stuff, but I've never seen him do anything aggressive. Never had to cite him or anything. Steven is a little different because he's a little bit more mentally ill. But even then, when I talk to him, he bounces right out of it. You get him like a little vape, give him a little $10 vape, and he'll be good for a couple of days. So you got to just find different ways in order to help keep them, whatever it is, because they can't get that from them.
Anything else, Christine?
Oh, no, that's all for my report, unless there's any more questions.
You're up.
Lightning round from the city. Few updates, probably not as prepared as I normally am. Front Street, 200, 300 block, CFPUA streetscaping project. I think the goal right now is for the 300 block to be open to vehicular traffic come New Year's Eve, I believe. And then punch list items first of the year. So we're getting toward the end of that project. To Elizabeth's question and comment, I got a text back from the engineer on the project. There are still 26 trees coming in total on those 2 blocks, so 13 on each block. I'd be happy to send out the types of trees. I know there's 2 or 3 different kinds going back in there that are more native and suited for our harsh summers out there. But 26 trees are going back in. Another item on that Front Street project, we had lost we had lost a good chunk of the fiber connectivity to a handful of street cameras there, as well as the River Place parking deck camera. From pretty much May until present, I believe that line came back as of today. So we have cameras back on at River Place, and you guys should have street level cameras back as well. If there's any issues there, let me know and I can get IT. I know we've been pushing the contractor pretty hard on that. For River Place, we had a visual as of 10 o'clock this morning. So finally back. Bijou Park is nearly complete. I believe the electrical boards and lighting that we were waiting on for many months were up, installed, and lit as of Thanksgiving break, I believe. I think the only thing remaining might be some just aesthetic improvements with some of the landscaping pots that were busted and vandalized a few months back, as well as the green wall that came down during the tropical storm back in September. I'm not sure if they're going to put both of those back or not. I think some of it's tied up in some engineering funding and stuff right now, but it's nearly complete. Looks great. I don't know if I'm hoping everyone's walked by there in the last few weeks, but looks great. Second Street parking deck is nearing completion for that rehab project. We are doing a full rebuild now of the west side stairwell, Second Street parking deck. I think they're up to the 4th floor. So near completion there. We're coming back in on the end of that project and doing an LED lighting retrofit throughout the garage. And not necessarily this group, but I've heard some comments. Our Market Street elevator, one of our 2 elevators, was down due to door operator functionality since May, and we've been waiting since May on those parts from the vendor. Those were installed on both elevators 2 weeks ago, and we should be back up with 2 elevators at Market Street finally. So that's it on the city side.
Thank you, sir. Well, if there's no additional questions or comments, we can adjourn.
Oh, quick one. Sorry, guys. Visitor center update. Anything?
We're close. Last time I talked to the city engineer, they were nearly on schedule, so we're close. So it's supposed to be completed this month. So I'd be happy to send an update. I can ask the question, send an update to the group, but we're close. Cool. I know one of the last things we had borrowed temporarily some of their planting pots and put at the Market Street deck, and I got an email 2 weeks ago that they were coming for those. So I think it's near completion. Good. I don't know if you've heard anything, John, on your side with some of your staff down there. Okay.
Hey, Chance, there was a tree that was cut down at the corner of Front and Market Street during the hurricane. Any plans of replanting it or what's going on?
I can ask the question, Bobby. You have a location like business proximity?
Right in front of Unleashed at the corner of Front and Market Street.
I can ask the question, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, and there was a comment made at the where our homeless are encamped. They're up on 3rd now. A couple of the businesses that had asked about potential porta potties in that area, that their alleys are being used as potties.
He's looking at you, not looking at me.
No answer to that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
This might be a question for Christina and really geared toward Jack.
Or is that
Where-
county?
It's county property,
Yeah.
so anything on site
Mm.
would be county.
Mm.
I guess my question would be, where do we send folks
They're
now? Like, is there I mean, I know the city's 3 or 5 Chestnut buildings open to the public, portions of State Lane Hall open to the public,
mhm.
county library open to the public, but all those are normal business hour type public after hours. I don't know what a solution is.
I don't.
I would say
know either.
the three public restrooms downtown would, now they're not at the corner of, Grace and
Yeah.
Third Street or Chestnut and Third, but the three bathrooms, two at the Market Street deck, one at the visitor center, would be your after hours
Yeah.
options, but they're not necessarily in the
One of
right
the
areas.
one of the business owners had walked by and there was a 5-gallon bucket that was being used by several people.
This was on the county property.
Maybe that's part of the larger discussion that I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah. Little.
Anything else? Then we're adjourned. Stand up. Thanks, everybody.
No motion, no second.
Motion to adjourn.
Stand up. So motion to adjourn. Everybody stand
Tom.
up.
Okay, thank you.
Tom
Merry
John-
Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, that's right. Tom John.
Bye-bye.
Whatever.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.